Bueno.
No way.
All right, it's live.
What's up, fool? Cheers, everybody. What's up, fool podcast?
Yes, at each.
Welcome to the What's Up Fool podcast. We're all here. Martin Rizzo, Rodrigo Torres, Lisa, James Hound is chilling at the Airbnb in the ghetto side of Desert Valley, the high desert. So you and I were talking. James, you and I were talking earlier before the show started. Show us that lamp.
Lamp. This is the best of 1970s Palm Spring.
You wish.
Whoa.
Oh, I like that.
Give it, dude.
See,
Yeah.
when they give you a lamp like that, they also give you a shoehorn to hold the door closed. Eh?
The only lock on the door is a chain.
I was telling James about that really, really seedy hotel, the resort we stayed in the ghetto side of Palm Springs.
Desert Springs.
Desert Springs.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling him about the hotel door we had with a sliding door.
Well, yeah, but it was rickety, and then the other door it didn't have a deadbolt. It only had the knob lock, and it was right next to a broken gate that led to the outside parking lot where people were just hanging out. You know,
Set up for a crime right there, huh?
It was a broken.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and the guy at the convenience store kind of went up like that when we told him we were staying up there in Desert Springs. It's like, well, we carry your walk down here because we walk.
He said, "So where you young folks staying at?" He was down at that hotel. You guys walked here, dude. We're walking like tourists, not knowing that we're in the ghetto, dude. Like. She was right. Our gate was broken where we parked our hotel. And then I was like, dude, we felt like turning back. Ooh. And across the street, man, it was nothing but like, it was a residence, bro. It reminded me of Drew Street. That's how many people were hanging out outside.
Yeah.
And it was pitch black outside also. And in the morning, everybody was gone. But everybody, bro, had a beer. Everybody looked like Randy Quaid and Christmas Vacation at that place.
They had a lounge. They had a cool little lounge that could have been cool, but it was just ghetto. But it was a cool little spot. If somebody made it all retro, bought it out and made it retro and stuff, it was nice. You could change it. But the people in the neighborhood, sketchy.
Like the pool had graffiti on the bottom. I thought it was 6 feet, but that was a gang.
They're already social distancing back then.
That's funny, dude.
So everybody wondering how they go in Oklahoma City. It went good. I feel great. Nothing's going on my body.
That's it, bro. Nothing else.
That's it, dog.
I lost like 6 pounds over there the whole 4 days.
We only ate 3 times, eh?
The food's like not that great in the whole city, man.
Right. Okay, the last night, the second night, we ordered burritos, and I ordered a bean burrito, and I ordered Rodrigo a beef burrito or all these burritos. Man, we got they gave us a ground beef burrito. Okay, I wouldn't buy a ground beef burrito unless it's from Taco Bell, and I had just come out of Quiet Canyon in Montebello at 3 a.m, or somebody punched me in the face at the Sunset Room, and I was starving, bro. I will get a beef burrito at Taco Bell, but I would never. I don't think I would ever order a beef burrito at a restaurant, man.
You know what really sucked about that ground beef, though? It wasn't even seasoned, dog. You remember?
It was made by Karen, bro.
It was still great, dog. Give it some shine. Burn it a little bit, dog.
And the restaurant had a mean Spanish name, huh?
What is it, like Jovitas or something?
That's my aunt's name, dude.
All right, I just texted Rob. I'm not sure.
El Zarape, huh? Some shit like that.
La cobija.
Yeah, dog. Bienvenidos.
San
Yeah, dude.
And then we ordered salads that was very skimpy on the rice.
Hey, but people want to know about like how that show was or how Oklahoma is, dude. The Okies don't be caring about no masks, dog.
Oh,
Different
hell no.
world, dude.
There was a concert across the street for Cody Johnson.
Dude, no.
Bro,
No
that's
mask.
funny, bro. I should have said that at night. That would have been hilarious.
Oh,
Nobody wearing masks. Yeah. At the end of the night, they were giving up COVID Johnson t-shirts.
It was nasty,
That
dude.
will be killing in the merch with that little title, dog. That little phrase.
There was a lot of people in line, man, with shit kickers. A lot of people got dressed up for that show, man. Hey, man, it was sad, but some of them went out to get dinner and get drinks. It was all closed.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, man. The food was okay, bad, I guess, but nobody in that Cody Johnson concert line was wearing masks.
Yeah, it was a different world, dude. I was like, wait, did these guys watch the news? What the fuck?
I got in an elevator, and I thought it'd be one dude, right, with wearing no mask. Okay, just one of us. You know, he's gonna stand in that square. Then when I got in, his family got in, bro, and none of these dudes were wearing masks. So I just chilled, bro, and I got off at the next stop.
Dude, I don't want to say like anything like anti-mask or you shouldn't wear masks or a proponent of not wearing masks. But dude, there's something that like all this news, this bad news about the COVID does to your brain, dog. It makes you so fearful, dog. And it kind of makes you like pre-sick before you're even sick, dog.
Oh yeah, dude.
That was kind of like to grip their vibe. They kind of had like balls to the wall vibe out there, dog. It's kind of like, you know, it's shit. Only thing that's gonna kill me is a bullet, man.
Even at our black family reunion, they were not wearing masks, huh?
They were at first, but then after they started getting buzzed, boom, off.
They started talking loud, huh?
Yeah, they'd be all, let me talk to you, relative. Let me take this thing off.
They were all, I think they were, I don't know if it was a wedding party or a
family reunion, I think.
Or the pre-jump the broom party.
Family reunion.
Everybody wearing t-shirts of
red
the family name, and in the back it says who they are. Like one of them had father, one of them had play cousin, relative.
You didn't see it was the LC, the Lewis clan, descendant of the famous Lewises from.
Hey, you could tell who's the oldest person at the African American family reunion by how well his colors were coordinating, huh?
That like the little, like he had his little leadership clothes on.
Yeah, dude. Like if it's loafers or spit shine, like some loafers that you would wear and go, God damn, those are nice loafers.
Yeah, Sigma.
His socks are always silk, like light blue, and the fucking barbecue shorts are light blue. And these fools always have a little belt, bro. And that matching that guayabera that matches the shorts, that's the one your dad wears. And a hat. And he always got that little big ass ring to let everybody know he put 20 years into a company.
Yeah.
Now golden rings, relative.
For real, bro. That fool be cooking, talking about, yeah, man, I was 20 years in that Ford plant.
But then work, fool.
What y'all know about work?
401k represent, player.
Retired.
You know what I noticed about that party too, fool? When people are like really old, like kind of almost like they can't walk a lot old, they be those little fools be sitting to the side all by themselves, huh? You didn't see those two, dude, like those three old, like nobody talked to them, dog. Just the people that were like sitting there drinking and like talking. Dog.
It's talking about that light skinned one that looked like Red Grant.
Oh, it was over, dog. You know what I mean? That fool, come on. He was like pushing 90, dog.
Did you guys ever go to like reunions like that where you wore like the t-shirts with the last names?
Hell no.
I never did it.
Man, but if I have to compare family reunions and barbecues, I would say that between I would say Mexicans, the ones that live in California, or Latinos. Like, what's up, Rob?
Hey, Felipe, how are you, brother?
What's up, fool?
What up, bro?
Oh, we
Hello.
were just talking about we just came back from Oklahoma City. We were at the Bricktown Comedy Club last week.
You were?
And they were open, yeah. We're just talking about they were taking everybody's temperature on the way in.
Oh wow, yeah. And was
And,
it indoors? Because like
Indoors.
they try
And,
to destroy people now for performing live indoors.
Yeah, and they had the same vent that they had for cigarettes. You know what I mean? So because they could suck up the laugh out of the room.
Oh yeah. Well, the virus, as we know, is very selective. So
Yeah. So Rob, there was a right across the street from our hotel room. Cause we had to walk across the street and then walk another block to the comedy club. There was a concert for Cody Johnson. I think he's a country singer.
yeah.
There was a line wrapped around the block, right? You thought Joe Coy and Gabriel Iglesias were co-headline, you know? So it was packed. And then Rodrigo said, who's performing? COVID Johnson?
Oh.
Dude,
You said nobody was wearing masks.
Nobody.
Hell no.
No, hell no.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's everybody in show business has too much to lose if you don't play ball right now. You know what I mean? It's like you don't want to be a target, and comedians are targets. I don't remember ever in my life where comedians that were like, you know, they were people were going after them, the media and stuff. It's tough out there, buddy. How are you stayed away from it?
I've been staying low key, bro. Like my fans are the fans that they get all their information from swap meets, you know, and barbecues, carne asadas, king tacos.
I don't think they care as much. Most of them. There are some woke.
My fans are like they're not that woke, you know. Their kids are woke. Like somebody made an article about me, and they said Latin X comedian Felipe Esparza, and then everybody was calling me a salad. What the fuck, bro? What does that even mean, bro? They should put Latin XXL on your name. You know what I mean? But like I'm stuck like in the middle of everybody's sides because I can't go on this side because then they'll get mad. If I go to this side, then everybody gets mad. So I just try to walk a fine line. Yeah,
no, it is tough. And when you have something to lose, you know, it's like a TV special or a TV show or like, you know, or whatever it is. I mean, it tightens you up. I never felt like I saw Chris Rock and I like, hey, dude, what are you going to talk about the next time you go out? And he said, dude, I got no idea what I'm going to talk about. It's tough out there. I swear it's a different world. And I guess like, you know, the audiences, but the thing is they're dying for comedy. Like
they're dying, bro.
That's true though.
Rodrigo, tell Rob about because Rodrigo went up as the host. And how did it go as soon as you went up there, bro? Besides that guy walking up to you, giving you a big hug and a kiss when you got off.
Nah, people are just super appreciative and like, you know, good to be out. They've been tucked in for so long and like they're really like right behind that live show right now. No matter what, they're with every beat of it. You kind of like, it seems like, all right, everybody stopped doing comedy 5 months ago and you think you forgot how to do it, but then you start doing it. It's like it was yesterday, you know?
Oh, yeah,
That's kind of like how electric it is, really. I mean,
I always said that the first show back, I'm sorry, like the first show back on a Friday, like the first one, I always think that's the best one because I literally don't know what I'm doing. And that kind of works better for me, you know? Have you been out yet, Rob, since the pandemic started? I've canceled many shows where I was going to go out. Yeah, Felipe, that was the first one in 5 months. He had pushed everything back. Oh, really? Yeah. No, I just got too much to lose right now, you know, to get the, you know, say the wrong thing or whatever. If you just got to be. I never felt that way, but like I remember, you know, another famous comedian a few months back, or what was like when, just right before all this, and he wanted to stay out of any. Let's not bring this up on. It was on David Spade's show, and I went, really? And I get it. It is why put yourself in the firing line right now? You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, like, you know, I went to go see Chappelle. This is like before all this, you know, pandemic thing. And the audience was so gripped by him. because I think like stand-ups, why it's so more popular than ever, is there's very few people that are just telling exactly what they feel about things. And so, you know, you're not getting that from like the news. You're not getting that from TV shows, really. So
unfiltered.
Stand-ups are like, you know, some unfiltered shit. And I think people are dying for that. You must have felt that last weekend.
I felt like I felt good to be back. As soon as I went up there, I felt like, man, everybody in the front, half of the front row is not wearing masks. So I started worried about that first.
Yeah.
Once I got that out of my mind, I just went crazy again and I started making fun of Oklahoma City because I never been to that part of the city. And man, I mean, the Oklahoma City not that big. First of all, it's not huge.
I've been there,
And they have a river walk now. And I asked the guy at the river walk, how long did the river walk ride? He goes, because I was trying to kill time, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 45, 50 minutes. 45, 50 minutes? Where the hell are you going? You know?
Around the world.
You end up in Mexico.
I know what I'm saying. Where are you taking these Mexicans to? You know, like, are we going to go to a different river, the Rio Grande? Yeah, so they have a river walk. It kind of looks like okay, people in San Antonio are going to get mad. It's a cleaner San Antonio river walk.
I know. I tell you what, I was talking to my friend who's a famous comedy manager, Sandy Wernick, you know, and he's Adam Sandler's manager. And I was like, you know, he's talking about, hey, what do you think about the this virus thing? And we're like, I said, honestly, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but like, you know, unless you're like over 80 and like have diabetes and high blood pressure and, you know, heart disease, I think you're obese. I think you're okay. And he said to me, I'm all those things. This is made to kill me, this thing.
Yeah.
But Norm had the best joke, didn't he? You know, heard that joke about like Norm? No more eating bat. Thank God they got that impossible bat.
You know, I had what's his name? Had a good one too. He's a friend of yours, Larry Bubbles Brown.
Oh, Larry's a monster, bro. Thank you. What did he say?
He goes. Everybody's social distancing 6 feet. I started that 20, 30, 40 years ago. Who would have known I was a trendsetter?
Oh, man. Thank you for, breathing life into him because he's such a. He literally is.
Hey, you know it's funny, man.
He's got 8 toes off the cliff every time I talk to him.
8 toes.
He goes, now, one time we did a gig, he goes, man, this hotel was awesome. I could live here. I wish you had another day. You guys kept me alive for another 6 months.
I give him shit about this the next time you see him. I did some gig that I never wanted to do, but like
I was just gonna bring that up.
Yeah. So,
I play with a warehouse.
I know. So Larry says, "Hey, buddy, how you doing? Love you, buddy. Butter. There's a gig up here in Santa Rosa, and it's like it's okay. The guy's nice, and he loves you. That's how they get you. Loves you, Felipe. He loves you. And then, yeah, you know, we could do 2 shows up here. And I said, well, I'll do it if you're doing it, you know. And then he canceled on me, and I had to do it myself.
Hilarious.
You're over there with a bunch of strangers, huh?
And then, yeah. And the worst part was like it wasn't even like a club. It was like a restaurant that they putting chairs in. And they had like the lights were like bar mitzvah lights from like a bar mitzvah party. And the sound system was like, and they had 2 shitty little speakers up by the front of the stage. I swear, man, I was like, I've known Larry for 35 years. It's the angriest I've ever been on him. So Larry, if you weren't considering suicide, I would swear to God I would kill you.
He was, Rob, he was pacing the green room. He was spreading so much at your test. I've never seen him this angry. I don't know what I'm gonna do. He was like, he's mad.
He drank 10 Diet Cokes.
No, but it's hard. I mean, I said, look, if Felipe, you got to do it, man. I think you guys were playing like the, downtown you were playing some like the Sony or what is the thing downtown LA you're playing?
Novia.
Yeah, the Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to say, hey, no, work this restaurant with me, not the Microsoft theater. You know, so
he said he had a lot of fun walking around by the Staples Center.
Oh yeah. No, that's an entertainment right there. That's the pre-show. That's the opening act.
Give me a reason to live.
Oh, hey, that's a good bubbles. Yeah, but he's a lovely guy. Just like a lot of guys, though, you know, who are you got to move to LA. You can't stay there for 40 years. That's never.
I know.
That's what Felipe always says.
Well, no, when we were talking to him, he was telling me that the guys that he started with, because you're still younger than him as in comedy, right?
Yeah.
You're a younger comic. He said that they were making so much money at some place called the Wild Zoo or the
Holy City
Zoo.
Yeah.
With a Fred Durst.
Well, yeah, Will Durst.
Will Durst, yeah. He did that. I always tell people that he was the first guy I ever saw, first comedian
I ever
saw do the correspondence dinner.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
I didn't know that was a thing. And I was watching television, and was that a guy doing stand-up comedy in front of these politicians?
Yeah, that's a tough gig, too.
He was doing an Iran-Contra joke.
Oh, yeah.
Back in those days?
Yeah, bro. He said a lot of people don't understand, these reporters, how the Iran-Contra works. And he's on stage in front of everybody, bro. He goes, hey, I'm going to give you these guns, but don't tell them. And he goes, I'm going to give you these guns, but don't tell them. And you just sell drugs.
That killed, right?
Yeah, it was quiet, man.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing about the way I approach any of those gigs when they used to ask me to do those things. I always approached it like, okay, I'm going to do a set and I'm going to make sure you never ask me again to host this event. And I just, that's just the way you do it. And then, I think the girl, Michelle, who did the last correspondence dinner, who ended it forever. What's her name?
Michelle Fox.
She had like Michelle, the one from the Bee or whatever that show.
Michelle Fox, right?
Michelle Fox. Okay, is that the one?
Yeah, Michelle Wolf.
Michelle Wolf. Yeah, Wolf, Fox, Badger. You were getting zebra. Yeah, but those are the dream gigs. That's what's kind of tougher about show business now. Like, like that the Kevin Hart thing where he was like his dream was to host the Oscars. And then to take it away for something, it was just that's just the era that we're in. Like anything can be spoiled, anything can be taken away. It's just a different thing. But you got to enjoy what you can. And that was the thing about stand-up. I mean, I remember I was talking to like Kevin James and Adam Sandler and David Spade because we were all doing like a Zoom thing, and I said, the one thing, and Chris Rock was on there too. I said, that's the one thing. Didn't you always think it's one thing they can never take away from us? Performing live. They took it away from us.
Damn.
They can take anything. They'll never stop taking stuff away from us.
How about what do you think about those drive-in gigs that Burt Kreischer, and I know that the Irvine Improv are gonna start doing it now.
I don't know. I'm doing one, and I just was on KTLA and promoting it because David Spade and I are doing it.
Where?
In Ventura. It's like 700 cars. Seats, 700 cars. And I said, what is it like? For a good laugh, it's like, for a really good laugh, and if you're really howling, it's I mean, it's the timing's got to be off. Have you done any of those gigs yet?
No, man, never.
But it was fun the other night, right?
Never. I will remember. The only thing I remember about doing anything like that was when I read Jay Leno's book.
Yeah.
He performed for coal miners.
Damn, outside?
I don't know if he was joking, but he said the lights for the stage were the little light they had on their helmet.
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
And he said the more the joke sucked, he saw people going like this, turning the light off and going away.
I
never read that book. I heard about it though. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. No, Jay's was a legend, man. I mean, he's one of the first guys who when you're first starting out, you don't even know what you're supposed to do or anything because nobody really takes you aside. But he's like, I literally was like driving him in my car to a gig because my manager at the time was also a heroin addict. He said, "Listen,
he used to clap at your shows like this."
Damn, dude.
So he said, "Hey, listen, Jay Leno's coming to town, and you're gonna pick him up at the airport. Make sure you're on time. Make sure the car is clean, and take him to the radio station and take him to his gig. You know, and if he wants to go to lunch, take him to lunch." So I pick him up with the sign at the airport. There's no internet. There's no global positioning thing. There's no GPS, right?
No cell phones.
It's just, there's no cell phones. This is 1984, right? So I got like a Thomas guide, but I know where I'm going because I'm from San Francisco. He was working in San Francisco. And I know that town was like a San Francisco rat. You know, I know everything. And so I drive him to I pick him up at the airport, you know. I get in the car and then I'm driving him to the gig. He sits up in front, which is nice. And then we go to the radio station. After the radio station says, "Hey, you know what, a good Chinese restaurant around here? You know." I said, I know the best restaurant in Chinatown, Mr. Leno. "Hey, won't you take me one?" And so I take him to the restaurant. He says, I said, "Okay, I'll come back in 45 minutes, Mr. Leno. I'll be right here." And he said, "No, come on in. I'm going to eat by myself. Come on in." So I go in there and I eat with him. And he says, "So are you a comedian?" And he finally asks, "Are you a comedian?" "Yes, sir, I'm a comedian." And he said, first question was, "How much time you got?" And I said, "About 8 minutes." And he said, "Good. Most comedians ask how much time you got. They're going like, "I got 2 hours. I got 2.5 hours." Who wants to hear 2 hours of comedy material? You either have 5 minutes to kill every time, anywhere, every time you do it, or you got nothing. And so I was like, that was like a bit of, like I needed that. And then I just spent like the next 6 months working on that 5 minutes. The next 6 months just working on 5 minutes. And that was like, a nugget of gold,
That's great advice, because I always tell comedians, man, you go, "How much time do you have?" And they always say that, "Well, I have like 45 minutes. And I always tell them straight up, nobody wants to hear that 45 minutes. Because nobody wants to hear, because look at all the comedians that are performing at the Comedy Store. Nobody wants to hear none of their 45 minutes either.
Yeah.
Because everybody is going to do 15 in this town, and they're going to do 10. Man, if you have 5, you'll survive. If you have 4, you'll get on a Tonight Show, but they're going to be the 4 hottest.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what the
4 hottest of the whole wide world.
Well, truthfully, that was another thing that Leno said that day that I never forgot. He said, all you need is 20 minutes to become a star in L.A. And that was true. David Spade, Adam Sandler, me, and Chris Rock, I don't think we ever had more than a killer 20, maybe 25, and then we were on Saturday Night Live. I think that's true.
You're a young comedian show though with David Spade and that class, because I have a
you read Fred Stoller's
stand up. I have my VHSs. I have my young comedians, with Bobcat Goldthwait and Robert Townsend and the Dice Man and Kinnison. But then I had yours too. Man, you and David Spade killed it, man.
That was a fun night. It was
had like the best jokes, man. Like it was like fuck, dude.
Dude,
like, the 100 ways to say dude.
Yeah, that was like a gift from God, that bit. Literally, like, when like you're always looking for comedy material, especially when you first start, you're like 22, 23, and you're always looking for it everywhere. And you just like, it's right in front of you. It's the car that you drive. I had a Volkswagen, 1963 Volkswagen that didn't have windshield wipers, and I had to put Rain-X on the windshield when it rained. It had an exhaust leak. I literally would drive like this with my head out,
Oh,
I never did jokes about that because people wouldn't believe it, But like the stuff that you could talk about was like, my brother called me, when you're a comedian, because I was a surfer in Pacifica. It's like a little dumpy town right below San Francisco. I mean, a lovely place, I should say. Sorry. And my brother called me, and I had literally just went to sleep about 3 hours before that. He said, "Dude, there are these waves, man. You got to come down. Roundhouse is kicking off, man." And I went like, "Hey, I just went to sleep like an hour ago. What?" He went, "Dude, you got to come down here." And I went like, "I'm not going. I don't give a shit. I'm still hungover." And he went, "Dude." And I went, dude. And I went, "Did he just say dude like 4 different ways in like 10 seconds?" And then the joke just hit me right there. And, you know, because my grandfather grew up, my grandfather was in Hawaii, my mom's dad. And so we'd go to Hawaii, and he lived in kind of a ghetto-y area there in Hawaii. But, you know, so there's a lot of locals, and you got to get tan real quick so they don't beat your ass kind of thing. And so the joke was like, you know, there's that pigeon talk. And I said, like, the word dude is kind of like the Polynesian word aloha. It has more than just one meaning. You know, you can use it to say hello to people. Dude. It's also used to mean listen or come here. Dude. But its most important meaning is you blew it. Dude. And then, you could also mean, are you in the closet with a knife? Like, dude. You know.
Yeah.
So that was like,
Killed me when I saw it.
that was like my first monster bit, you know. And then you know, stuff like that which was fun. And then, you know, Jerry Seinfeld would come into town, and you get to, like, you know, it was a place called Cobb's Pub, and it was basically a bar that you can get 180 people in, right? And he charged like $15, and I made enough money for Jerry to go. And after the young comedians, he was very nice. All those guys, they would stick around and give advice to comedians, and he was very generous to do that. And I remember just sticking around because, you know, when somebody's been on TV, you don't know anybody who's ever been on TV. You're looking at a guy who's been on TV a bunch of times. He did like 40 Tonight shows. You're looking at him like, give me the keys to the kingdom, please. Give me some wisdom, you know. So let me tell you guys, you gotta take the swear words out. Take them out of your jokes. And if the joke's not funny without the swear words, then it's not funny. And I remember thinking, like, wow, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And stuff like that, you know. And then I shook his hand, you know. And then when he went to leave, I went to shake his hand again, and he looked at me and said, hey, it's the same hand. I swear to God.
That's what he said, because in his movie, he told somebody, the movie comedian, he told somebody, we just said hi.
Here's the best part, Felipe. I got on David Letterman like a year later with those same 5 minutes that Jay Leno told me about, which is all I basically had, which was killer. And then he came up to me at the Improv in LA, because you have to move to LA. Back then, you had to move to LA after you did Letterman, and then get frustrated for the next 2 years. He really literally chased me out the doors. Very nice. He didn't remember me, but like, he chased me out and said, hey, I saw your show on Letterman, man. You had balls of iron, man. Balls of iron. And he shook my hand once, and he talked to me for a little bit, and I go, is he going to go for it again? And then he went for it again. He went for it again. And I'm like, hey, that's the same hand.
Did he laugh?
No, he thought I was the biggest asshole. He thought it was just, he didn't get it, clearly.
Oh, that's fun.
One of those things are like, and then it's kind of awkward the next 10 times you see him.
That's awesome that Jay told you that you just need to be those 5 killer minutes.
Yeah, you need that. Somebody's got to give you the keys to the kingdom. I see these guys that open for me, you know, when you're traveling, because you bring your guys with you. God bless you, man. You're a legend. But like when I'm working some places, I like to, you know, maybe bring a guy with me or have somebody also a local, because they need to practice in front of a sold out house, right? So when you're playing some club or something, and have them come up and do it. And then you see some guys who don't take advantage of that stage time, or they'll talk to the audience. Someone like, hey man, I got a sold out crowd here. You got to practice your shit. If you don't have 8 minutes of material that you got to go into the crowd and start talking shit, you're not gonna be able to do that on TV. You know, you got to get, you know, that's not going to be your comedy special unless you're a genius at it. And I'm amazed at so many guys that don't take advantage of the opportunity.
I was in Texas, and some guy wanted to open up, and I told him, okay, man, but when you go up there, don't ask nobody no questions. Don't talk about your town. He goes, don't ask nobody where the Mexicans at. We know where they're at already, bro. When we got here, we saw them, mate. So don't do that.
We know where they're at already.
Don't ask where the single ladies at.
Oh yeah. What did he do? What did he do? What did he do?
Oh man, he went up there and bombed, man.
Oh, did he talk about that stuff?
He went up and bombed and said that, man, if I have more time, man, you're not gonna. I'm more of a storyteller, you know, and
I know.
I usually don't do 5 minutes, eh?
Oh, yeah, I need enough time. I need an hour to really get him.
Get him on my side, dog.
See, I talked to the audience, and I didn't see my normal people ask questions too.
Yeah, you got to tell the people. Like, I mean, I would just tell comedians the number one thing I tell them is like, hey, when you're done, just say good night, thank you. You don't have to say that's my time. Nobody cares that was your time. You know what I'm saying? They don't go like the audience going, you know, I really like that comedian. Was that his time? Or did he have? Well, that was the amount of time. That's not the question. The audience is just get off and just say thank you. I'm going to bring up the next act. No, that's my time. It's just there's some things that, like, you know, mental health is a big issue, and I think a lot of people, you know, the comedy world accepts and has a very great, you know, there's sick people in the business, and I know, you know, Larry Brown is one of them, but he's an artist. He's an artist, but at the same time, he's developed it and he gets it, and he knows how to be professional. And some people they don't. It's like a therapy session that never ends for these people. I remember, like, when I first started in San Francisco, because it was a real scene back then, because Robin Williams was the big star, and he would, more times than not, show up, and the audience would they would follow him in. You know, people, I mean, they hear about him on the street. He would pack that Holy City Zoo place.
So he's walking and people are following him, and
he would go on stage, and all of a sudden it would be like a vacuum. Everybody on the neighborhood would start coming in. The bars and up in that street, and it would be packed. Wow. And he would do sometimes, you know, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then the audience would usually leave with him, and God knows what they did. And there'd be some people who'd be like and Larry, I'm sure he's told you this. There'd be some people, 8 or 10 people, who'd be too drunk to leave, and then we'd have an audience, you know.
Johnny Steele.
Yeah, that's right, Johnny Steele, man.
Hey, Rob, some of the fans watching have some questions.
Yeah.
Is there going to be another See What Happens podcast soon?
Yes, we will. My wife and I we're California refugees. We left California.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we
did
left.
You? There's a lot of that happening. Where'd you go?
Well, we
undisclosed location.
I'm in hiding in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Until things calm down, I'm out of it. I couldn't take it anymore. You know, they when they say they're going to cut the power if you have a party or something. I mean, I'm not having parties, but I'm saying, no, I don't like that idea where, like, you know, they arrested a surfer, and I said, he was surfing alone by himself, and they arrested him.
You said,
dude. I know. Then I said, we got to get out of here. You know, I'll come back, but, like, for now, I'm out of there.
Laying low.
I'm laying low. But
somebody else asked if Real Rob is coming back. Too.
Oh, Real Rob, you know, I just, you know, if we just dropped the comedy special last night. I know, Felipe, you got yours coming out in September. Congrats. Yours is the next one they're doing.
Yes.
And they're very excited
there's
about
nothing between yours and his then?
There's nothing.
It came out August 11, which is last night, right?
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, yours came out last night. Are you getting any flack right now? Any woke people?
Not, you know what? I'm kind of impressed that not really, which is good because I was worried. You know what I mean? There was like, because I'm Asian. My mom's Filipino, so I figure like I do a bunch of stuff about Asian people, which is all true stories. I mean, I literally worked at Chang and Chow 76, John Chang and Patrick Chow. That was my first job, and they would pay us on Saturdays before the banks were open. And then they would take us out for, you know, some cheap Chinese food and give us beers at 16 years old. And then they gamble at the back of the Chinese restaurant and win all our money back. And they paid.
That's gangster, dog.
Yeah, I know. And I went, man. They said, I said, I got to be careful here, you know. And they always invited me. Come on, we go out Chinese food. Come on, free. We pay for everything. And I said, no, I pay for everything. I pay for everything. You know, when you're 16, you don't know how to gamble, you know, and they got you drinking. But that was the same time, it was the greatest experience. You know, I had like friends who were Korean who literally had relatives come living in their house, like not enough for it was not enough room for like 2 families in there, but they did for like a decade. And then they would open up their own Kentucky Fried Chicken or dry clean or whatever. It's like, I'm telling you, man, the Asian, they're just the hard working people. Well, just like, you know, Mexican people, they just work, you know. I mean, you see it in LA, man. You see like a drugged out white dude, you know, passed out with his shirt off, right? And then you see a Mexican guy selling something in a shopping cart. He's working his balls off out there. I don't care how hot it is, you know. And I admire that about the culture. And growing up with that was, you know, was cool. You know, there was a lot of pressure if you're Asian to be successful. my mom used to yell at me like, "What are you doing, Robert? Why would you drop out of school? Your sister, my sister and I, we found money that the Japanese hid in a cave. My mother, that's what paid to go to school." And well, I can't top that. I don't know what to tell you. You know, I want to be a comedian. She just thought I was the biggest loser. You know?
There he is.
You were successful pretty quickly after you started, right?
I did, but there was a couple of years of
Yeah.
like that. My mom's like, you know, Robert, you need something to fall back on. What you should become a teacher. You should do this. You become a lawyer. We could get you to school. It's free here. You should go. Opportunity. This is a great country. You are not taking advantage of this country. You know, so it was that kind of stuff. It was real tough. But then when I got on TV, she loved it. You know,
a lot of people, well, not a lot. Some people like on the Instagram when I posted your picture that you're gonna be on, they rush to go see your special.
Oh, thank you.
And one of the girls said they really like. Spoiler alert! They really liked the part when you were singing with your daughter. They thought that was like the sweetest thing.
Oh, thank you. You know, I have a lovely daughter who's a pop singer, Ella King, and I was doing the special, and I just like, you know when you get one of these, Felipe, you don't know what's going to happen in this career. You know, you just like, well, I don't know if I'll ever get another one. And I said, I called her up. I said, why don't you do something on it with me? And she said, what? And I said, well, I don't know. Maybe we could sing something. She says, okay, I'll find something. So she picked a song and she knew that I knew. They said, we'll do it together. And then, you know, she did the arrangement, and then she got like 10 violins, and I had a jazz pianist there for half the shows. There's a jazz pianist behind me, a great guy named Takeru Saito from Japan. He's an amazing classical jazz pianist. And so it's just nice, you know, sometimes you're doing your bits and like, man, it'd be nice to have some music behind you.
Yeah.
It's like, I got some music behind me, you know? And so she came out and sang a song. We'd never really performed publicly together. And so it ended up being really, really nice. And there's, you know, it came out good. I'm very proud of her, and I'm glad she was nice enough to come out there with me.
Is that Richard Pryor behind you?
Yeah, good call, bro. That's the man. That's the inspiration. I said,
yeah, man, we got one to him too.
Oh, you do? Let me see that. Oh yeah. Oh, that's early Pryor.
I tell people that I took it off the Comedy Store wall, but I really didn't.
I got, you know, there's a lot of cats who were lucky enough to like meet Pryor and stuff. I only got to meet him one time. It's because I was at Saturday Night Live and I was a writer there. And he was going to be on the Phil Donahue show. And so I said, you know, Pryor's in the building. I said, what? What do you mean? You know, that's my hero. And they said, well, where is he? He said, doing the Donahue show. I said, I'm out of here. I'm sorry, I got to go. And I just like ran downstairs, and they said, and you know, if you're on TV or one of the writers, you got a badge. They just kind of let you go anywhere, right? And Pryor was in there, and I got to tell him, which is cool. I said, hey, we've been stealing from you ever since that special in Long Beach you did, you know, with the red shirt. And I'm telling you, people don't even know they're stealing from you. You did the, you know, you said that was the statue of David of stand-up comedy, and you just, you know, that's the greatest set ever. And he said, you saw that? He said, yeah. I said, oh shit. And I go, man, you should have seen that shit 6 months later. I was just starting to figure that shit out. And I believe him.
Crazy. That's crazy.
I believe him, you know, and because it was incredible. I mean, it really was. It was a miracle that they ever filmed that. It was in Long Beach. They just got some cameras. This guy, Sargent, was like the producer, and they just grabbed some cameras about 9 days before that and just shot that, and had a really good mixer and a good handheld dude. But yeah, I mean, Pryor. I mean, can you imagine how good he would have been in Blazing Saddles?
Yeah.
He wanted that role bad, but Warner Brothers thought he was too dangerous, and they were right. So it's Cleavon Little, who was also great. But Pryor stuck around for 2 weeks, and until he realized he wasn't going to get the role.
I read that in that book.
Furious Cool, right?
Furious Cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I heard that story from what was the book called?
It's the latest Richard Pryor book is called Furious Cool.
Wow, that's cool. I heard that from the guy who played, the big toothy guy. I ran into him at some place. Hey, what do we got here? looks like we got here a bunch of Kansas City, you know, the word coming. I gotta be careful. Yeah. I got a Netflix special. That guy, and he told me some great stories. He told me, what's his name? You got to look him up. He's a really toothy guy, and
Cats?
No, very toothy guy in Blazing Saddles. He's in one of the early scenes. He's got a black cowboy outfit on, and
Slim Pickens.
Not Slim Pickens, but he worked for Slim Pickens.
Huh.
Oh, and look at the cast. He's very toothy. You'd have to look it up.
He's got a real.
He's like that. Well, what do we have here?
Harvey Korman?
No. No, he wasn't one of the stars, but he was great in it. And he told me a great story. That's the thing, man. All you get to keep, Felipe, is the stories. Everything else goes, But he told me, he said, they flew me out there to Hollywood, Mel Brooks, and they said, we want you, Mel said, I want you in this movie. And I said, well, yeah, I'd like to do it, but I got to talk to the guys at the firehouse first, and then they called me up and they said, that's him. What's his name?
Good character actor.
Great
His name is
character.
Burton Gilliam.
Yes, Bert. I'm sorry, Bert Gilliam. So he
He's
said,
good.
and he told me the great story. He said, so then I get a call from Mel, and he said, hey, we want you to do this movie. And I said, Mel, I only get like a few days off a year, and I already took them to go see you. If I take any more days off, I'm done for the year. So basically, you're gonna have to pay me my whole year's salary as a fireman. And he said,
Yeah.
well, how much you make? He said, and I make $25,000. So I said, done. And then he said, did I ask for too low?
Hell yeah.
So I mean, to me, it's like those are the kind of stories and stuff, or the stuff that I just love it. Those are the things about show business, the inside baseball, or whatever you want to call it.
You said a real funny story. Howard Stern. My wife and I, that's Lisa Esparza, we're driving, man, and we were entertained by you talking about how when you walked in, what's his name, Steven Seagal, right?
Oh yes, well
He showed you a script. He read you a script.
Well,
You came out of his trailer. Go ahead.
You were in his trailer. You were wearing a kimono. He said.
There's a very famous story about Steven Seagal, which is he became a big star. When you're a big star, you need to have the accoutrement of the big star thing. Well, in other words, if you get like an assistant, you get, they pay for that. You get the trailer with not just any trailer. It's got to have 2 pop outs, Yeah. And then it's got to have like a bedroom. It's got to be big enough to get lost in it, And he had a movie that Under Siege, which made $57 million. Okay.
I really thought that was his weakest movie, by the way.
At the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, Tommy Lee Jones is, it's one of those guys you'd pay to watch him eat lunch. Tommy Lee Jones is good.
Oh yeah.
And so this is the story from the writer of the sequel. He made him wait 45 minutes in the other, in the outer room in the trailer, right? After like literally 45 minutes, Steven Seagal comes out and says, I just read the greatest script I've ever read in my entire life. I said, really? Who wrote it? I did.
His fool said, who wrote it?
I did. I said, wow.
Oh my God.
That's kind of beautiful, I mean, in a way, like, again, like there's just those kind of stories. Like when we were at Saturday Night Live, there was a, Charlton Heston, who was like, when I was a little kid, the 10 Commandments, forget about it, Ben-Hur, like Soylent Green. My favorite was Planet of the Apes. That scared the shit out of me when I was 5 years old, right? So just knowing that this guy's going to walk in, I'm going to get to see the guy from Planet of the Apes. It was unbelievable. I'm going to get to see Moses. And so I wrote a Moses sketch with me and him, and it was like I was playing Edward G. Robinson. See, yeah. Where's your God now? See, he's gone now. Yeah, where is he? Where's your Moses now? And then he'd show up and go, Moses, hey, Moses, I was just talking about you. I said you'd be back any minute. They didn't believe me. He's a bunch of cowards. And then he leaves again, like, where's your Moses now? He's gone. See? So anyway, it was just one of those things. And he had a toupee. And you know, and we all knew he had a toupee and everything, but like the beautiful vanity was that when he went to put the wig on, he made us put the wig, you know, his Moses wig. He made us put it on over his toupee. And I was like, oh, that's beautiful. How sweet is that?
Oh man.
You know, that's nice. He doesn't want anybody, he wants everybody to think it's real. You know,
We're all pretending here.
That's beautiful, isn't it?
He wants everybody to think it's real.
It's like a 73-year-old, you know, actor's, you know, eyelashes or something. It's beautiful, but you know, those are the kind of things, the little things that stick with me.
Because I was working in a movie recently, like the last 2 weeks. They were COVID-19 approved, a movie with Omar Chaparro.
Yeah, Omar.
Yeah, and that was like his first English movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And when we're
first drama, I think, too.
First drama, yeah. We shot it, and the guy who wrote that movie, Voces
Inocentes. Yeah, that's based on his life, that writer's life, his childhood.
Crazy.
He ran away from a Salvadoran military army. They were looking for little guerrillas, and he fled from El Salvador all the way to Mexico and
Civil War, right?
Yeah, that's where they ride that train. They ride on top of the train. All those people hang on the outside of the train to come up.
Wow, incredible.
He was a child. He's the child in that story.
So he wrote that movie. So we're getting a movie, and then there's a guy next to me, an actor named his name is Oscar Torre. He's a cool dude, man. Real cool motherfucker, man. He's a veteran actor. He's been in a lot of Tyler Perry stuff. He's in a dressing room, and I think he's wearing a piece when we're like getting hair and makeup, and they go like, "I gotta tell you something before you even start, all right? I got a hair piece. Touch it, hey? It looks all right."
This was just like a cap, right? Like
everybody knows that shit looks good, man. I said, he goes, I didn't want to say anything, but I said, I was fooled. I thought it would look good. One of those where you didn't even want to tell nobody, but por favor, I got hair pee, all right? No, nobody touch it.
You flick it the wrong way, it'll fall off, dog.
Yeah, that's I had a piece when I was doing a movie, and I had to kiss this old lady in the movie Grown Ups. And I hear the people laughing in the tent, like screaming, laughing. And I went like, maybe the scene's going really good. I had no idea that the wig I was wearing just popping up like this in the middle of the scene, like a wave like this. And of course, they kept it in the movie. But yeah, it's those things are so fun. And it's
you say that because I was doing like that little Estrella TV.
Oh yeah.
I had my wife there with me, and then my wife said, "Could you get he has like could you get something right here for his forehead when the light hits it?"
Yeah, I didn't want it to be too shiny on his scalp.
Shiny right here, man. Could you get like a black spray on it? And he goes, "I don't know. We'll see." And I stopped that lady. Don't ask everybody, all right?
Yeah, she said, I'll go ask some people.
Get it done.
Yeah,
don't go asking everybody.
You're gonna have that mop for the rest of your life, buddy. You're all right.
Well, I got this ready to bring it back. What was it like? What was it working with Sylvester Stallone and Judge Dredd?
Well, I was
Demolition Man.
I was really lucky.
Sorry, 4 times.
I was very, very lucky to be on Saturday Night Live, and then I got a couple of hit characters. Then I left when that's the thing about it. You can't wait to get there, and then it's the greatest place ever. But then you can't wait to get the hell out of there. It's just so much pressure. It's 100-hour weeks, and then after you leave it, you go, "Why did I ever leave that? It was the greatest gig I ever had." But I was lucky because there was this guy Joel Silver, who produced this movie Demolition Man. He said he wanted me to be in it, and I said, "There's no role here." He said, "Yeah, what are you kidding me? There's no role. Just get out here and do it. Figure it out. Come up with some stuff, whatever." And so I literally, I said, okay. He paid me like more money than I was making at SNL for like the year, and so to come out there, I said, "Well, I guess I got to go." And then he came out, went in, he saw me, he said, "Your manager's an asshole." And I was like, "What?" Because I've been trying to get you out here and do this damn thing. And it's like, "You've been a pain in my ass right now. You said there's no script." And I said, "Well, figure it out. You're a comedian, right? On SNL, you just ad-lib all that shit, right?" And I went, I know we write it, and with a group of people. Anyway, So
They
luckily,
improvised everything or what?
most of the stuff was improvised. Yeah, absolutely. There was a scene with like Benjamin Bratt where we don't touch each other's hands and everything, which has become very popular since no one's touching hands anymore. And like, there was that. The 3 seashells scene was there, and then, but it was cool because Stallone was like a big star, and it was one of those things where you don't know what movie stars are like. I didn't know it was like a big movie, and I never worked on a big movie before. I worked on like Home Alone 2. That was it. And but this is before Surf Ninjas, I think. So I'm on the set in costume. Everyone's on the set. We're ready to roll, and that's when he comes out. He's one of those. That's how big a star he was. He wants everybody to know everything's got to be set. I'm not spending a minute on that set unless everybody's ready to go. And it's like, whoa, that is a power trip. But it's his, man. The movie's going because of him. And he had a good sense of humor, and I made him laugh. And then it was really Sandy Bullock's first big movie. And then after that, I got, I quit SNL. It was just time for me to go. And I got a phone call from Stallone. He said, "Hey, listen, kid, I got a movie here." And I went like, "Well, yeah." Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you. Joe Pesci said no, and you're cheaper. So, hey.
Hilarious.
He said, Joe wanted $5 million. I'm not gonna fucking pay Joe Pesci $5 million. I said, I'll get this Schneider kid for fucking nothing. So anyway, you want to do it? And I went like, well, yeah, thank you for the compliment. You know what I mean? And so, but it was the greatest. I mean, it was like 5 months in London, and like I had just started to become a little famous in New York, and like nobody knew me. The only way I could get into a club or a nice restaurant or whatever, it was when Stallone invited me on. You want to go out to eat? Yes, I want to go out to eat.
I said yes. I want to go.
But being around a huge star, he was the biggest star in the world. Him and Schwarzenegger at that time were kind of toe to toe, and he'd just done Cliffhanger and Demolition Man, which were big hits, right? And then the Rambo movies and Rocky. So literally, it was like different than even a supermodel. Walking down the street with him, traffic would stop. Literally.
He just walked out on the street freely, like.
He would walk down the street, have a bodyguard or two, and then like
fucking Rambo right there.
Piccadilly Circus, right?
That's crazy.
He gets out of the restaurant, he starts walking down in the daytime, with like at lunchtime, whatever. And I mean, traffic stopped. People got out of their cars, and they just, and then Gary, his bodyguard, said, "Hey, help Sly get to the car." And they're like, I don't know what I did this basically, like
tossed you aside.
And it was people pushing and shoving and I'd never experienced that before. And I said to him, was that scary for you at all? And he said, "Are you kidding me? It was nothing. I was in Paris for the Arc de Triomphe, the award for the arts award. There were 100,000 people there. There's nothing. Give me." And so it was a challenge. It'd been fun, and he was tough, but I didn't care. I mean, tough compared to what? I was making a movie. I didn't care how tough he was. Sometimes in a scene, he would just give me all the dialogue. Because one thing, when you're doing a movie or something, I always get there first, so I can see all the shit, know what props I can get, and then make the crew laugh, so I'm relaxed. So I always had a huge advantage over him. So we were doing this scene where we get, the plane crashes, the prisoner plane, and we all escape, right? That's the big scene. So I got there early, and I started, telling jokes, right? And then I'm making the people laugh, and they're, and I'm getting like, I got 100 people on this fake plane. I'm killing in there, right? And then Sly comes right before we start rolling, and he comes out, and so I do another joke to lighten the mood. And it just murders. And he looks over, and then he does a joke, and he gets like a polite little laugh, right? And then I can't help myself, I throw another line out there, and kind of making fun of him just a little bit, and it just destroys. And then he does another one, and like crickets. And I swear to God, I went like 5 minutes into the scene. He said, "I want you do all my dialogue. It's too much stuff for me." And I went, "What? Yeah, just do it anyway." So naturally, I don't know his fucking dialogue. So I'm making mistakes. What the fuck is wrong with you? You don't know the fucking lines? I said, I know my lines. You just gave me your lines. Do for me. And I'm just killing with this shit, right? And he's fuming a little bit. Anyway, so I did all the lines, his lines and my lines. And then the next day, I just knew. I said, something's going to happen. I'm going to get fucked up here. I know it. Because he's very competitive, right? The next day, I get to the set early. He's already there. He's there waiting for me.
In a bike stand, eh?
He's got the whole crew there and everything. And he's got all his guys and all his makeup and all his hair people. They're all assembled online. As soon as I walk up, he says, hey, what's that fucking movie you did last summer? Surf Nazi Ninjas? What the fuck is that? What is that, like a... you got to learn to say no sometimes. Fuck.
That's hilarious.
Jesus Christ. I mean, you have, I mean, like... were you broke? And you can get a job as a waiter. That's what I did. Just say no to that shit. That's going to be out there forever, for fuck's sake. And then I had the line.
Hilarious.
I had the line, but I didn't say it because I knew I had to work with it for another 4 months. I had the line, though. Felipe, I had the line.
You play political.
Well, Sly. I didn't say it, but I said, well, Sly, we can't all start out in soft porn. I never said it, and I kept my job. But that line, I swear to God, it was right there. It was a big laugh, but big laugh from.
You knew when to pull your punch. That's good.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm grateful to him, and I.
That's funny. You're gonna kind of know when to hold back, huh?
Yeah, you do. I mean, I wish I would have held back more in my career, to be honest.
That's why I remember I was watching this. Sometimes I watch these videos from the. I like to watch these African American comedians beefs. With little D-Ray and Cat Williams.
I mean, inside their clique of.
Inside their clique, what they're talking about. All that stuff. And there was a comedian named Pierre, who was on that show Red Shoes Diaries, I guess, for a while.
Oh yeah.
He's a comedian, right? And he got invited to Eddie Murphy's party, and they were all hanging out, right? And then like Eddie Murphy, they doesn't even know him, but he goes, "Oh, you're that BET comedian, right?" Oh. But in his head, he goes, "Man, I've done Red Shoes Diaries. I've done this at the time." In my cocky ways, I should have just laughed it off. But then he goes, "Yeah, man, I saw you that movie with Dudley Moore." Oh, you're the guy from that movie with Dudley Moore, Armed Defense, right? And then everybody went,
that one. Oh, I forgot about
Best Defense, huh?
Best Defense.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then everybody made a little hush, right? And then he quiet after that, man. He goes, "Yeah, man, what happened to you after that?" He goes, "Oh, man, nobody spoke to me."
Boy, did you like the COVID, dog.
They did. They turned their back on him after that movie. Weird.
Yeah, it's tough out there. That's the thing about it. I remember Chris Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Rock was telling me one time, because we did this Grown-Ups movie, which was amazing because he's the one who talked me into really doing stand-up again. I mean, Adam Sandler was talking to me, but he wasn't doing it either. So why don't you talk to me? Why are you talking to me about doing it? He says, no, you should get back. And then Chris Rock said no, man, you could be the best at it. You got to get back up there, man. You'll love it. And I said, dude, I don't know what I even talk about. So you talk about what you talk about with me right now. I said, I don't know how to do that, man. So I just, and then I did. I started jumping back and did about 10 years ago. And it's been the most, wildest part of my, and the most interesting part of my career the last 10 years, I think, because if you're just doing stand up, you kind of like show business looks at you like, you're like in the hinterland. It's like the Siberia of show business stand up,
Yeah, you're there with
But at the same time, it's like it's the best because it's
cool as fuck.
You got your fans right there, and it's nothing like it. And if you got your stage legs, you can do anything. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing like stand up, and you just have to be careful about it as an actor. You don't lose your listening skills. It's really important that you got to be able to still listen and see what's happening and not be planning and thinking ahead because it's acting is reacting and they're great comedians, great actors, but most of them, if they're not listening, and I won't name any of them, then it just doesn't work. And I remember Chris Rock talking to me about the movie business. He said the thing about the movie business is this: when you're off the list, they don't call you until you're off the list, but you're off the list. And it's true. I mean, I remember Michael Caine saying years ago when I was in London, it was I gave you like, if you got 3 bombs in a row, that's it. You're done then. You got to have a hit, have a 3. You do like 3 in a row, that's it. You're out. We don't fucking get the next fucker. Nah, you don't need it. You're fucking gone, You got to get a fucking hit. I don't care who you are. And, shit, he's right. You got to get hits, man. And it's a weird time now because you don't know what people want to watch and where they want to watch it on their phones and their computers. Who knows? You don't find out how many people are watching it on Hulu or what. They can just say whatever they want, Yeah. But talent survives. Content is king. And the key to it, though, whenever my career has been in the toilet or trying to get out of it, I had to come back to like, well, what was different about what was different a couple of years ago? And I go, well, I was having more fun. And truthfully, you got to keep having fun. And like stand-up has been a blast. I love it. And I'm having more fun now than ever.
Rob, you did all of the Real Rob creation, right? You created, directed, wrote.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't I tried to get somebody else to pay for it. I'm not an idiot.
And you financed the first season, right?
But what's so fucking funny when that was.
Well, sometimes you got to finance yourself. Sometimes you have to do that.
You got to do it. No, but I tried to get people to pay for it. I tried to get Netflix and other people to pay for it. And I just said, well, nobody wanted to pay for it. And I said, well, let's just shoot the fucking pilot. And I said, well, how much is the shooting the pilot? We're like $200,000. And we're like, well, shit, how much is shooting the whole fucking series? Yeah. I said, well, dude, not that much more than that. And I said, well, let's shoot the whole fucking series. So we flew off to Florida, and then I didn't have enough money to do it because they fucking lied to me. I had about half the money to do it. So I was literally like, I would finish Friday afternoon about 4:30, and I fucking go to like Minnesota at some wonderful Native American reservation, and I would do my hour, and then I would get paid. And sometimes they would say to me like, Philip, you'll get this. Would you like to get paid in cash? I go, yeah, of course I do. And then like I called my agent and I go, hey Adam, they're gonna pay me in cash. He said, am I gonna have to pay taxes on this? And he said, like, of course you're gonna have to pay taxes. Yes. What do you think it's 1930? You asshole, you're gonna be a jazz musician or something? Of course they're gonna make you sign a paper.
Yeah,
you sign a paper, you gotta pick it. So he said, you go to the cash booth. And so they go up to the booth, and I'm gonna get I go up there and they say Mr. Schneider, just go right to booth number 3. And the woman behind the counter recognized me from from whatever. And she go, oh yeah, my God, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking she recognizes me. Okay. And I go, when is she going to give me that piece of paper? When is she going to give me that piece of paper to sign, for the whatever they call it, the tax paper. Anyway, she starts counting out the money and waiting for that paper. Don't give me that paper. Please don't give me the paper. I said, what movie did you see of mine? You know what I mean? Like, what else did you see of mine? You're too young to remember Saturday Night Live. Certainly you are. Anyways, I didn't get the paper. I didn't have to sign the paper. And so I just got this cash, and I got literally tens of thousands of dollars, And you make 3 times as much, Felipe, but just pretend, go back a few years. And the guy said to me, and I got the cash, right? And he goes to me, Mr. Schneider, would you like your own baccarat table? And I went like, I'm good, man. I'm good. He said, would you like your own blackjack table? And I went, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. Seriously, I'm really good. He said, would you like one brought up to your room?
What?
I'm good. Seriously. I'm
Wow.
a little tired. And he said this to me. Norm Macdonald had one brought up to his room.
Ah, dude.
I believe that.
They want their money back, huh?
I said, I love Norm, but I'm not Norm. I love you guys anyway. So I would go back and I would give this to the accountant, and then we'd have money to shoot for the next week and a half. And then, that's what we did. And then the same people who said that they weren't going to pay for it bought the show after watching the first 5 minutes. And then they paid for the second season. And it's just the thing is you got to believe in yourself. And they were unbelievable. Netflix was unbelievable. Larry Tanz and Rodrigo Mazon. They gave me 2 notes the whole second season.
Wow.
And it was after I already edited everything. They said, we got these 2 notes for you. And I said, I'm already done. I got it, and they were great. And they were terrific on this comedy special that we did. And it's the premier place, Felipe. It's the premier place to show your wares for anywhere around the world, 110 countries.
I auditioned for you to play your brother-in-law.
You did? Oh, you would have been amazing in it. They
a long
hired
time ago, yeah.
I want to do this a funny
Crazy.
thing. I went to go audition for that role, and then they said they needed a rusty guy, right, with hair. And I said, I already had it. But there was another comedian named Joey Medina.
Yes.
He was fucked, bro. Rob, he was clean cut. And he wanted it so bad. He wanted to be your brother-in-law so bad. He went over there to the receptionist. He goes, hey, he starts, hey, mija, hey, mijita. And she was white. He goes, what? Hey, sweetie, you have any Sharpies? He goes, yeah. What color you want? Black. And he got his 8x10 and he drew a beard on himself.
Wow. That's amazing. I thought you were going to say he drew it on his own face.
No, man, on an 8x10. He drew it on an 8x10. But this guy's desperate, man. He went into a party one time for advertisement. he put a little happy face on his finger, and he told people he was a Ziploc finger.
Man, I put Joey in in Real Rob.
Yeah. Oh, really? I didn't know he was in that.
He was great first season. He did a good job. I felt bad because he had the smoke in this scene, and I can just tell it was not, he didn't want to smoke in it, but anyway, he was great. He did a terrific job.
When you were performing at Cobb's in San Francisco, there's an Indian restaurant like across the street, right, where everybody hangs out and.
Okay.
Half Indian, half Irish bar.
Okay. I don't know that one, but that was 3 Cobb's pubs ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right. The time of the old Cobb's.
That used to be called Bimbos. Oh no, and then Bimbos. And there was the problem with that place was, I think it was like not Wolfgang's, but it was they moved the stage, they put it in the wrong place. The stage is supposed to be on the other side. So all the comedians from San Francisco go, you guys fucked it up. You put stage supposed to be over there, not here. And but it's still, when that place is packed, it's still a pretty damn good room.
Yeah, and I remember I was hanging out with some comics, and they told me that that a lot of comics would hang out at this bar, and I remember that bar was like a bar, but then you go to another side and they sold Indian food.
Oh, that sounds good. Fuck, I didn't know that wasn't there when I was there. There's a place called Fred's Pizza, and Larry will tell you this. Fred's Pizza, and he loved comedians, and he would so you come over to my place and take all the pizza you want. So we go over there and get pizza. We get pizza. We'd eat it there till like 3 a.m, and then we take it home and have pizza for breakfast. I hate pizza. I don't ever want to eat pizza again. Pizza, especially pesto pizza. It's like, to me, the most. I mean, having that for breakfast, disgusting. That reminds me of poverty like you would not believe, man. And I know Larry would remember those days. Fred, because he was a nice guy, But I don't know. Those are the best times. Truthfully, those are the most ridiculous, greatest times. Just being a comedian and living with other comedians, which wasn't the greatest. Living with other comedians, but I remember I had a place in San Francisco. Milt Abel, one of Larry's good friends, he got me this place, $200 a month. Not bad. It was a great neighborhood. It was a dump. It was like the dumpiest building in a very nice neighborhood. It was $200. I said, I can't pass that up. So then they had an old Russian guy who owned the place, and there was one light bulb. It was the 30-foot ceiling. In those old Victorians, they divide it up in like 10. It's like, it's a mess. Like whatever, it's $200. There's one light bulb way at the top of the ceiling, and it went out. So like, I went and knocked on the guy, the guy's door. I go, hey, I got the bulb is out there. And then the guy says, I will come fix it, no problem. I have to get the ladder. So it's an old Russian guy. So this guy takes this 30-foot fucking ladder, right? And he puts it up in the room. And I'm watching this guy, and I'm going like, am I letting an 80-year-old guy climb a ladder? I should be doing this, but and I said, well, he's already up there. So he does the bulb, whatever, and he comes back down and he said, I don't feel very good. I've not felt good for the last few nights. Anyway, he fucking died.
Oh no!
Killed this guy basically, changing a fucking bulb. I couldn't believe this thing. Anyway, so that was it. I never had to
change it though.
He changed the bulb. The bulb.
Oh shit! That's all that matters, player.
I know, but like,
it matters. Oh my god.
So anyway, I felt terrible about that. I said, did I kill this guy? I mean, I don't know. But I remember looking and go why am I letting an 80-year-old guy climb a bulb? What kind of asshole am I? What is this? But you're not thinking as a kid. You're a young guy. You're I got He brought the ladder up, started climbing up. So anyway, I don't know. Maybe that's not a good story. Maybe I shouldn't tell that story.
That was perfect.
He changed the bulb, dog.
He changed the bulb, yeah.
Oh, man.
Sometimes you got to pay the price to change a bulb. You know what I mean?
So your special is called
Asian Mama Mexican Kids. I'm trying to get most of the planet there with that.
Go watch
title.
the special. Most of the planet. That's good. How did you meet your wife?
It was one of the, she's the best thing that ever happened to me, honestly. I was doing a movie that it was very tough. It was like back in 2008, 2009. There was a movie called Big Stand, which is a really good movie. And I was very proud of it. I had the first one I ever directed. And it was like, $6.5 million the hard way to raise that money and then get it. And I put some of my own money in it, and I didn't get paid and I did it. And it was tough. And so I had a chance to get it released by by MGM, and then I had a chance. And then I asked my buddies at Sony, and they did not help me out with that, by the way. Jeff Blake, thank you. No, thank you. And then, not that I hold grudges or anything. So then this guy, Bob Yari, was this producer who just won the Academy Award, and they didn't give it to him, by the way, but it was his movie called, I think Sandra Bullock was in it, but it was about some car accident or something with Dylan and Sandra Bullock was in this thing. And was it called Crash?
Yeah, about cops. Matt
yeah,
Dillon.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this guy said, well, maybe this guy can get the movie out there. He doesn't tell me, though, that he went bankrupt. His company went bankrupt, and they had my movie. So it got stuck there for like a year, and finally, the deals were kind of falling apart. And then I said, all the people that I had worked with, and for my other movies at Disney and at Sony, I said, look, I'm going to protect you. I'll promote it for you. I'll make sure you make some money on these movies. So instead of a big studio doing it, I had like this little tiny studio in Mexico, and I went down there, and the company had me doing these TV shows to promote the movie. And one of the shows I did was called Guerras de Chistes, which is War of the Jokes. And my wife, Patricia, I met this beautiful girl who was the producer, and she was just, and she wasn't happy to have me on the show, believe it or not, because I don't speak Spanish really. And I understand a lot more now. And so she was worried that the translator would be too much of a delay, and you
had an earpiece.
Yeah, and people would lose interest or whatever because they'd be bored with me trying to figure out what everyone's saying. So they made her have me on the show. It's one thing if you're a movie actor of some renown, they put you on the show. They don't care, whatever. So I just met her, and it's just it's the beautiful thing in Mexico. They kiss you hello. And I was like, it's beautiful. And I couldn't stop thinking about her the whole show, right? And then I saw her at the end, and I go, I'm gonna go ask her out or say something. And I went like, no, don't be a creep. Don't be that.
That's kind of bold.
I said everybody asks. I don't want to do that. I'll just don't be with that guy. Just do the show. And then
only live once, bro.
And like as I walked out, I'm in the van, and I'm feeling like such a loser. Why didn't you ask her out? You idiot. You piece of shit. You dumb idiot. This girl's, sweet. You had a little connection with her for a second, and I said, "Don't leave." I remember looking down in the van. Don't move. I said, and I wrote a nice little note. I said, I would love to have dinner with you sometime. If you would like to come to Los Angeles, I would love to bring you to Los Angeles and have dinner with you. And I had somebody run in and bring it to her, and then I invited her to the premiere. And the whole time of the premiere, I was looking for her at the thing, and I never saw her. And it turns out that she went there with like a guy, so I never saw her. But then it was weeks later before I heard from her, and she was just kind of as a joke, she kind of like reached out, and I said, well, come to Los Angeles. And she, she didn't want to go. She didn't respond to me for like 10 days. And then she said, you know what, why not? So she came out and she brought her mother, which was nice, a nice move. And then I fell in love with her, and she started going back and forth. And I said, look, you got to just move here. And so she did. And, that was 11 years ago, two kids and 11 years ago. So if that movie would have been a big success at Sony, or, if MGM would have picked it up, and if Bob Yari wouldn't have been a gigantic scumbag and like fucked me over, I would have never met the love of my life. And she's just changed. She changed. So in other words, sometimes, whatever's going on in your life, you got to understand that there's another side to it. And that's the truth, man. There's an interpretation to anything that happens in your life, and it's up to you to find a good one.
My acting coach within your movie,
Who's that?
She was
Who's that?
She was the narcoleptic, Deborah.
Debbie, she was great.
She always says nice things about you.
She was terrific.
How cool you were on the set and everything.
She was great. I got to tell you, she committed hard. There was a lot of people auditioning for that role. She was the only one who nailed it, and she was hilarious. And in second one, she wasn't like acting. She would imbue the person, which was great and I found out she's a terrific acting teacher after that. But she was marvelous in that. And truthfully, like I didn't know what was working and what wasn't working. But then like when she came on the screen and in the test screening with a big audience, they just were dying laughing. And it was like, thank God for Deb, you know? So you can tell her I said hi if you still talk to her.
I see her every week on Zoom.
You do?
I still take her
great.
class. Yeah.
Good. That's fantastic. You know, I had a really good acting teacher, Ivana Chubbuck and Roy London before that. And it's just good because truthfully, you don't know, you know, you got to learn to like listen and take notes and stuff and be able to like, because it's expensive to be on those movie sets. And then also if you get an opportunity to do a movie, you got to take advantage of it. And you got to just put all the nervousness and everything and just get into it. And that takes years, truthfully, you know.
Were you nervous your first movie?
I had no idea. I remember being on like my fourth movie and I still had no fucking clue what I was doing. And I remember I was in a movie with Harry Dean Stanton, Bruce Dern, Kelsey Grammer's first leading role in a big movie. It was his big movie at Fox. And I got the lead bad guy in it, you know, and I know Patton Oswalt had a small part in it and a bunch of killers, you know, a bunch of good guys. And I remember I'm doing the scene in the submarine and the camera's on me and I got no lines. And I remember I didn't do nothing. And I go like, why is the camera on me? I don't got no lines. And then I said, oh, maybe I should be reacting to what everybody else is doing. Nobody told me that. It's movie acting. It's not like an acting class where you got to, you know, you can bounce it off whatever. And they tell you, if you're not getting what you need from the other actor, pretend like you are, that kind of shit. But, and then like, you know, the greatest thing was I had a big lead in this and I was nervous as shit. I was very nervous. And then like usually in a movie, they get you to do like your big scene in the middle of the movie, you know, when you warm up and everything. Not at the end, not at the beginning. They want you to warm up to it and then hit you at your peak, right? So what happened on this movie is called Down Periscope. So up in San Francisco, we're shooting it. What happened was the crew from Los Angeles put the submarine, which didn't really work. It was only like one submarine, World War II submarine era, the United States submarine. And they put it in the middle of this, they call it the Mothball Fleet because there's a bunch of old boats. And so it'd make it look like a Navy shipyard, except they're just these shitty old boats from World War I and they're falling apart and they're all like literally like 5 years later, they sold them to Korea for scrap metal. And they were just filled with asbestos and whatever. So anyway, they put the submarine sideways against the current. And sure enough, there were gale force winds and the submarine went bye-bye and crashed into the other boats and almost sunk. And so what happens on a movie is if you are, you know, doing the scene, like the opening scene was supposed to be me introducing all the guys on the boat. Nice and easy scene to do. And they called me up that afternoon and they said, hey, the submarine sunk or almost sunk. We can't get it. We need to go to they call it emergency cover set. And I was like, what's, yeah. You know, I don't want to go, what's that? But I didn't know what that was. Well, we're going to cut to that other scene of you taking over the ship. And I went like, holy shit. So I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing yet, you know? And so I called my friend of mine, the great actor, Scott Wilson. And I go, Scott, they're fucking me on this movie. He said, well, what are you talking about? And he always called me kid. Hey, what are you talking about, kid? And I go, I got my big scene tomorrow. I don't even know. I mean, I did a rehearsal with the director, with Kelsey, and I could just tell it wasn't going great. And nobody panicked. That's the key. They go, oh no, we'll see what happens tomorrow. So, but I know it wasn't really there or whatever. And he said, tell me about the part, kid. And I said, you know, I'm playing the lieutenant who takes over the boat. He said, well, do you got the uniform? And I said, no. He said, well, get the uniform. And so I called up the costume person. I said, I need to get the uniform so I can get into, you know, into the, you know, the spirit of the role. He said, I can't get it for you. He said, what do you mean I need it for tomorrow? I said, no, it's on the boat. It almost sunk. He said, can you get me a uniform? And then they got me a uniform. And then like in that meeting earlier, the director said, we want to get you a mustache, you know? And I said, well, it's going to take me a couple of weeks to grow one, but we'll get you one. So I said, fucking shit, I got to wear a mustache now. And like, and I don't know. So they said, so I called the makeup guy. He said, it's going to take me a couple of weeks to grow a mustache. Can you get me one? And he said, I can't get you one. I'm still working. I'll be working until 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll get you in the morning. I said, can you get me a mustache? So anyway, about 1 o'clock in the morning, I get like the uniform. And about 1:30, I get a mustache, right? And so I just remember I said, just and Scott Wilson said, just put the uniform on and something's going to come. I guarantee it. And then, so I put the uniform on. And then I remember working with Sylvester Stallone. And like Sylvester Stallone, he'd walk around with his chest out like this, right? He'd be walking around. It was literally like, you know, he'd be walking like this with the muscles. And I thought, wouldn't it be funny to have that physique or to have that walk, but without the muscles, just look like a parrot without his feathers on? And I said, okay, that feels like the physicality of it. And then the mustache just made me, I couldn't smile. It kind of made me tight and everything. And then I called back Scott and he said, I think I'm getting it there. And he said, tell me about the scene tomorrow. I said, well, I'm taking over the boat. He said, why don't you just, in your head, be listening to the Star Spangled Banner? And I was like, what? And so the whole time I'm doing the scene, I'm hearing like, na, 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 na. And I'm telling you, it made like a little bit of madness going on. And it just made the role, and it made it, and it worked great. And then like Kelsey was a little nervous in the morning, and then there was fucking birds there because we're working the cover. It wasn't a set, right? So that every time we'd be rolling, and you hear like quack, 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 these fucking pigeons. And I just knew it was throwing Kelsey off a little bit. And so they would get these big boards to go action, and then they start slapping these big boards, making noise to quiet the birds. And I said, and it was throwing him off, which made me like, oh, now I'm going to go get him now. You know what I mean? Going for the kill. And it ended up being a really, really, really good scenes that was, you know, important and for the movie. And you know, so, you know, there's so many things to panic about. And you got to turn it all off. But that was one of the ones where, you know, you learn how to deal with something in a it scares the shit out of you. Because when you get a role in a big movie, you know, the one thing you think about in the back of your mind is, I don't want to get fired from this.
Yes.
Please don't fire me. You know, so it's been wild. And, you know, I've been lucky. Adam Sandler and I have been friends for a long time. And he would just, you know, say, you just do this role. You play a Hawaiian guy. And I go, really? Yeah, all right. And and then I had a blast. You know, 50 First Dates was a blast. And, you know, so I'm trying to thank you. It's been a fun ride. I got to tell you, Felipe.
You killed it, though. And you killed it, too, with no lines. But you're like 4 lines in Seinfeld with a earpiece.
Well, yeah, that's the
thing. That shit is hilarious, man.
Thank you. You know, I was doing a movie in Europe, and then I got a call from Seinfeld, one of his writers. He said, you know, Jerry wants you to do this role as this pool service guy who's an annoying guy. And I said, you know, I'm doing a movie. I can't do it. And so I came back, and then they gave me another one, and this was this one. And it's great because there's always something there. You know, there's no such thing as a small role. You got to find out what it is. And I was talking to Larry David. I said, is this guy deaf? Is the guy who's pretending to be deaf? Or I don't know if he is deaf. And I said, is the guy deaf or is he not deaf? And he looked at me and went like, I don't know. You wrote this. What do you mean you don't know? I don't know. You decide. You decide. And so it was a really fun scene. And I remember I would watch rehearsals because I loved that show. And I knew that was going to be a classic show. It already was like the #1 show in TV. And I was watching the rehearsals. A very interesting thing I saw where Michael Richards is doing this scene in the kitchen with Jerry, and I'll act it out for you. He's doing this scene, and you see him in the background, and during the scene, he's doing this. He's like, you know, he's kind of doing this, you know, and I don't know, and he's talking to Jerry, and he's kind of doing this. You know, and finally, you know, after he does that, couple of takes of that, and Jerry doesn't ask nothing and whatever. And I went to him, I said, hey, Michael, what were you doing in that scene? And he said, well, in my mind, I had just farted and I'm trying to waft it away from Jerry. Like, so there's all the kind of crazy shit you put in your head that the audience doesn't know, but they know some crazy shit's happening. You know, there's some fear or some weirdness shit that's happening. And it's like, it's up to whatever you put in your head is in your head. Just because that's the way the line is written doesn't mean that's the way it's supposed to be performed, you know?
The technique, like if you want to look really worried, you could try and do a math problem in your head, you know, but visually people think that you're worried. Look, you know, you look worried.
Well, I will tell you this, like to me, the idea that you're supposed to do all the work, you're supposed to do half the work and you got to let the audience do the other half. If you start to do the audience's work for them, and just basically let them think, you know, let them do all the work. In other words, if you do everything so they don't have to think or try to interpret what's happening, you know, and I remember I got to work with this great actor, Martin. He from Ed Wood. Oh, come on, Martin. He just passed away. Martin from
Landau.
Martin Landau. Yeah. But the great Martin Landau. I'm doing a movie with him in the Czech Republic, and we want to. Of course, we go out drinking because it was just the Iron Curtain just fell. We're having a great time drinking. We're drinking beers, but we're having 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 beers, and he said to me, the thing about acting, and he was teaching acting in the early '60s in Los Angeles. And do you know who his star acting student was? Jack Nicholson.
Oh,
Jack Nicholson was his guy. And so, Jack was in the actor studio. And he said to me, the thing about acting, the most important thing, he said, you got to find it, express it, and suppress it. You got to, you don't show everything. You just, maybe once in a movie you could do that. And I wrote it down on one of those beer cards. The next morning in the trailer, he said, what did I say to you last night? It was the most succinct description of acting I've ever said to anybody. And I went, I'm wearing the same clothes. I'm still hungover. So I reached into my pocket and I had that beer card. He said, find it, express it, suppress it. He said, I thought it was more elegant what I said to you, but that works. And, but it's, guys like that, you really learn a lot from. And it's the techniques, it's the stuff, it's the tricks. The first day of filming in the Czech Republic, I see him messing with the lights, like on this. The first day, first shot up. And I always want to go to set first, see what's happening so I can figure it out, right? He's doing this to the lights, like he's doing this. And and the cinematographer sees him, the director sees him. And so the cinematographer goes to to the lighting guy and says, get up, and gets the ladder and something, moving stuff. And then, they start shifting all this shit. Anyway, he says to me, I finally, after, a few nights working with him and drinking with him, I said, so Marty, what were you doing there that first day when you were doing the lights? Because it was a famous Spanish cinematographer. And he said, what were you doing when you're doing that? And he said, I was doing nothing. It was a bluff. I just wanted him to know that I know what the fuck's going on around here. And it's like, that's like genius to me. Just great stories, And just those are the stuff, money comes and goes, fame comes and goes. But this is a guy, and he told me that my favorite story with him was he was like Marilyn Monroe cleaned his toilet. This is the guy who dated Marilyn Monroe. And I said, come on, that must have been the most incredible. I said, she was the hottest, most desirable woman in the world. I mean, what was that like? And he said, I don't care how desirable, how hot you are. If you got to wait 2 hours for her to fucking get out of the goddamn shower to get a goddamn pizza, it gets fucking old. And I'll tell you the last story he told me, which is incredible, that I take with me. Is that he got discovered on Broadway by Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
And that's pretty nuts. There's the Dark Side of Genius is a really good book about filmmaking. And so he got hired, and he's literally with Cary Grant. And I'm talking that movie with Cary Grant and Eva Marie Saint and James Mason. And he's the henchman to James Mason. And that's North by Northwest. This is one of the greatest movies ever made, right? So finally, he's been doing this, and he's there with these movie stars. He's feeling great. He's literally stepping on Cary Grant's hand at the top of Mount Rushmore. And then he gets shot and falls over. And then you see James Mason arrested. So it's all, and then you see that beautiful scene with that transition where he's climbing up, and Cary Grant climbs up, and you see him helping Eva Marie Saint, and then he helps her up, and they're on a train together. It's like, one of the most brilliant movies ever made. So anyway, his story, he was telling me so after a while working with Eva Marie Saint and then Cary Grant and James Mason, finally, and being with Hitchcock, I finally got up the nerve to ask, because Hitchcock, he said, Hitch, you discovered me on Broadway. You saw me in that play. He said, what was it about you? What was it about me that you saw that you thought I would be perfect for this role? What was it about that you saw in me? And I said, well, I thought that you make an excellent homosexual. And
That's fucked up.
but to be able for a guy to tell another guy that story, and this is and be comfortable with that, it was great. So I mean, those are the things that I remember and take with me at these days.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Rob, man.
Yeah.
Give a shout out to Nico McMahon Yes. Shout out to Lisa Esparza's brother, David O'Daniel and John O'Daniel, Emily O'Daniel. They're probably watching the show right now. I know they want to get a shout out in. They live in Dayton, Ohio.
Well, what are their names?
Johnny and Emily.
Johnny and Emily.
Johnny, Emily. All right. Watching Felipe, the Podmeister.
We should always copy that, man.
Yeah. Ready to go watch Rob's special?
Yeah, it was fun. I had a good time doing it, and I hope people dig it. And then, I got lucky, brother. I did it February 29th.
Yeah.
We did it on February 2, right?
Ours was the end of January, but
Really? You lucked out, man.
For the pandy.
I know, man. Like, bro. When I was about to shoot my special, I started seeing like a deadline of other people who are doing specials, and they were gonna do their specials like in April or March or May, and it happened. I got lucky.
Yeah, you did. You nailed it. Where'd you shoot it?
We shot it at the Santa Ana Observatory Theater. It used to be called the Galaxy Theater.
The music place mostly, but yeah, we converted the whole thing, and yeah.
That's amazing. How was that night? That must have been incredible, huh?
It was great, man. We it's funny because both of our shows we had to shoot them after Kobe died.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So,
2 days before, yeah.
We had to tell people they can't wear jerseys at the show.
Wow.
Some of them still did. We had to paint them out on them.
Yeah.
Oh, people still did? Oh man.
Do you have shows coming up? Anything?
I've got a couple shows, and I went like, I don't think I'm gonna do them just because I just don't want the grief, man. I'm like, I say, can we do it in the parking lot? And they're like, nah, I don't think so. It is tough right now, and until they figure things out. I will say this though, there's some shows they're doing in England right now where they're doing some outdoor shows, and it looks pretty cool. They've got like this little, basically it's a little, you get your own little cage over here, and it's like 6 feet away from another, and they can like sit 6 people in there. It looks okay. Have you seen that?
I see it.
I mean, if you gotta have shows. I mean, it seems a little bit more expensive than just folding chairs, but we got to do shows. I mean, we can't not do shows anymore.
No, man.
No life.
True, man.
How crazy was it for you to not work for 5 months?
It was crazy, man. I really felt like I was locked up.
Yeah.
I mean, I was with my wife, but I still
house arrest.
We wake up and there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to eat. There's nowhere to. Everything's closed.
I was working out. My wife luckily bought a Peloton right before this, so we had like all the gyms and nothing was closed. But at least we had a workout thing, So I was doing that for like the first. I was pretty good for like 6 weeks, and then I'm like, let's just eat something. I don't care anymore. I give up. I can't do this. I miss the days of flatten the curve. Don't you miss those days?
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
Well, they're supposed to be 2 weeks, right? And we're 5 months in. See, yeah.
Herd of unity.
Yeah, man. Everybody, man, go watch Rob Schneider's special.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Felipe. Thanks for having me on.
On Netflix, man.
Thank you, Felipe. All the best. And tell Larry Bubbles Brown I forgive him. Now I forgive him.
We'll tell Fred Stoller what's up, because he wrote that book about you, the young comedian book.
Yeah, that's a good book. I got to say that.
Fred, Rodrigo.
I'm doing a show, man, with Rob Schneider.
Hey.
Depressed.
5 Minutes to Kill, right? That's the name.
Yeah.
That's right. And I got to plug this in. This is about to die on me, this damn thing. I got to tell you, that book, I mean, we literally just moved here. I got to tell you, that's the closest to anybody's ever captured me in anything. That book.
It was serious. You said a lot of stuff about that. Your comedian friend that passed away. Deep stuff.
Yeah, Drake Sather. And that was like, I'm doing a book that I'm working on. And he was like the guy that was like my pal, but suffered through depression. And like, I didn't know anything about depression, to be honest with you. I thought maybe I gotta be more fucked up, because all these guys who are just geniuses, they're all fucked up, But he was such a jokesmith. He'd be able to just get an idea across, and I just, it was incredible to, like, being around these young guys. And it was about the same time in the late 80s where people, if you got to move to LA, man, and then you move there. And I remember they had back in the late 80s, they had the Improv, and they had a shitty Improv out in North Hollywood. And that's where they sent all those young guys. And that's where I met Adam Sandler. And there's like, you know, when Chris Rock would come or whatever. And then and David Spade. And those are like, those are, you know, anytime you can get on stage, it was great. You could make money as a middle act back then. They paid more back 35 years ago than they pay now for acts. You can make like $1,200, $1,500 as a middle act until they realize, you know what? We don't have to pay any of these motherfuckers. You know what I mean? So
I got when I started stand-up comedy, I got in like at the last of it, you know, when the comedy club stopped flying the opener.
Oh wow.
So I remember I worked in Sacramento Punchline with Gene Pompa and Sully McCullough, and they flew all of us.
Wow, they stopped doing that.
Nobody no more, man.
Yeah.
They know they'll get a local guy to do it for less.
I know.
Like,
the other day, like there's a club here in Scottsdale. My buddy was performing, and I felt bad because, you know, they can't have that many people in there, and like the chef was doing the sound, and it's tough right now. It's tough. And then he quit.
Captain Brian.
He quit the second show. He had like about 30 orders of French fries and like a dip and some avocado dip or whatever, artichoke dip, and he literally it was the greatest thing, man. He rolled a big blunt, took a couple of hits off it, and said, "I'm out." And then
hero,
I know, man. I love this guy. And then like it felt bad. The waitresses were crying because they had to go back there and cook the shit. And we're like, "Fuck, man, does this happen every night here? What the fuck is this?"
That's insane, dude.
Yeah, but
follow that, he said.
Yeah. Check this sound, motherfucker.
Well, thank you, Rob Schneider, very much, man. God damn, you're a legend.
Thank you.
Thank you for dropping knowledge, man, on acting and stand-up comedy.
Man.
You're a comedy treasure, bro.
I'm the luckiest guy alive, man, and I know it. So thank you.
Yeah.
Give my love to Larry. And I got to tell you, Felipe, you've been just more than a prince, and everybody loves you. Everybody. So thank you.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you.
All
Rodrigo, Rizzo, love you guys, man. See you guys later.
Likewise, dog.
All the best. Thank you, Lisa. All right, Marvin. Take care now. Okay,
All right.
Rodrigo. Hasta luego, amigo.
Hasta luego.